Hello everyone, Joe here once again for the second part of Lagfest. You didn't see a video on the first part because you know that what that was. It was just all of this year's summer units on Rate Up and Sparkable, and even though I think I said I was probably going to Spark, I decided after a lot of contemplation, self-reflection, that I was just going to save most of my crystals and not Spark, because as nice as a lot of these summer characters this year would be nice to have, I don't really need any of them. Like I mentioned, like stuff like Yukata Naru is an amazing OTK unit, but I managed to do a 0 button 3 chain OTK for Light Guild War without her, so that was fine. And like most of the others that I didn't have, I already had Medusa, Yukata Silva and Summer Dark Jean that you saw from my previous Spark video. But I bought both the Scamchas and got nothing. I got a Medusa dupe and a Summer Athena summon dupe, which I didn't need. And then I did a few YOLO rolls and got Summer Vajra. I know that I joked that I would like to get her to use as a skin, but if I was only going to get one summer character, I didn't want it to be her. But anyway, I didn't actually read the event because I've been pretty busy, so this is going to be completely new to me. They usually tease new units on the end of month story events. This was a Yngwie focused one, but I haven't had time to read it. Erika, I'm assuming that's her daughter. I think that's what the event is about. And she's water, because Guild War is coming. He looks like an absolute Giga Chad. Anderson. Don't know who he is. And then that's is this Wamda's summon? It is. Okie dokie then. So yeah, I did some YOLO pools. Didn't get much. Like I said, Summer Vajra was the only thing of note that I got. But let's take a look, as we always do, at these weapons first. So, first off, what's her name? Erika, was it? On the attack rate on Ogi. Big attack, small enmity. Garrison rather, not enmity. Kind of whatever. This fire sword. Wind damage cut on Ogi. Small attack and small majesty and Aegis. If it had an FLB, that maybe see use in fire. I don't know. Probably not, to be honest. But let's look at these kits. So yes, Erika, who is water. Massive water damage to a foe on her Ogi, end cooldown for that, and then tactical edge to Erika. I'm not going to try and butcher this presumably French pronunciation. But it's our skill 1, which ends cooldown on Ogi. Another water ally attacks without using up a turn. Consumes tactical edge to end cooldown. Okay. Oh, okay. So you can do this twice in one turn after you Ogi. Interesting. Skill 2, 1 turn cut to a water ally skill cooldowns. Boost critical hit rate. Keen effect. Amplify normal attack damage. And of course, because this banner literally just started, we're not going to have numbers for these, so I think Keen is usually consistently like about 50k or something. I may be completely pulling that out my arse, I'm not sure. But yeah, obviously no numbers here. And remove 1 buff from a full hit to defense and water defense. Okay, fairly deep. Dispel rather, and some decent debuffs. That's, you know, defense down is always nice to have. Low attack, oof. Less likely to be targeted. At the end of turn, if no damage has been taken, restore water allies HP 10%. Okay, not too bad. I mean, we're interested in seeing what this is, but I would assume that because of this, she's more focused on letting her other party members attack, that it might not be too bad. Oh, interesting. Where another ally attacks without using up a turn, provide backup fire to the ally. So I'm assuming that's going to be similar to you know, like Water Alicia's backline thing and other similar things where it's basically just a skill nuke after like a chain burst or whatever. I'm assuming this is a similar sort of thing. So yeah, so basically our whole thing is to just do some buffs to your other team members, some debuffs on the boss, and then just let someone else in your party attack without using up a turn, which is cool. And then get, like I said, presumably a skill nuke, and then she can do that every time she... Yeah, that's twice every time she Ogies. Because if this is on cooldown and she Ogies, this will come off cooldown, so you can do it. And then it will consume the buff that she gets from her Ogie, which is a separate thing to end the cooldown instantly again to do it. So yeah. I'm trying to think of... Does Water have a one-turn assassin character? Is FLB Uno, is he one turn? Or is he one hit? Pretty sure Water Zet is one hit. I don't remember, I'm not up on my water burst strategy, but I was gonna say that might make it so she could fit into like a water burst team if they had a one turn assassin, because obviously that's a possibility of 3 turns rather in total, 4 if you're using tag team of assassin attacks. So that could be pretty nutty, but the main thing I'm seeing there is that she needs the Ogie to get this, which means that wouldn't be a turn 1 thing, so it would require some setup. So even if you're using like... So you could use Relic Buster to Ogie turn 1, but then you'd be giving up using Wrestler for tag team. And then like having her in the party as it is probably going to mean that you're giving up a lot of like echoes and stuff from another character like Summer Lucio or something. So I don't know, like hard to say really. She's an interesting character, that's for sure. I think for sure if this had like echoes instead of like crit stuff, she would be a lot better for like that kind of burst team. But as she is, not super sure. I mean, maybe actually in longer fights where like you're going to be seeing a lot more of this. Because obviously in longer fights you're going to be Ogieing a bit more, especially if you're using like Kengo or something. She's probably going to be Ogieing fairly regularly, like every 2 or 3 turns at most. And then and if you're using a strong normal attack damage character, like say like Water Zeta or something, like giving her like an extra 2 turns of attack every few turns is potentially pretty good. Plus, she has some some healing. I'm going to assume this is a fairly small heal, probably about like 1,000, maybe 1,500. I don't see it being too super huge, and this as well will help her to Ogie a bit more often as well. So honestly, hard to say. Like I don't think she's bad. She seems like there'd be some interesting setups with her. Just like I said, I'm not so sure that she'd be in a spot for like quick burst teams like wrestler stuff, like I said, because she maybe requires a bit too much setup and you're maybe just giving up a lot of other niceties in order to actually fit her on the team. But interesting character for sure. Like this is super interesting. Obviously not full auto friendly. Since these are both targeted skills. I wonder, interesting to see some showcases with her to see how she does in any kind of team, really. Like, I'd be interested to see how she shakes up. But next up was it Anderson was his name? Yeah, this absolute Giga Chad. Buff old man. Okay, so Massive Fire Damage 4, remove 1 buff and restore Anderson's HP. Fairly straightforward. Dispel on Ogi is nice. 800% fire damage to foe, 30% boost to caster's charge bar. Fair enough. Amplify caster's normal attack damage, deal triple attacks while in effect, attack without using... Is this similar to Yngwie's kit? Is it not? This is very similar to... Pretty sure this is very similar to one of Yngwie's skills. Substitute effect to ally, receives all ally attacks, nice. All ally sub is cool. 1000% boost to defense. Fuck, 1000? That's pretty big. That's like Granblue. I want to say like Granblue has like 1000% defense on her S1. Even stuff like Wamdis and like Galleon and stuff is like 300%. 1000% is pretty nuts. For 3 turns as well. And 5 hit tank and counter. Cool. No charge per gain upon normal attacks. Activate Mongan Rote, which is his first one. Okay, so after normal attacks. Cap wind damage. Jesus. Cap wind damage taken at 5000. 1 turn cut to buff skill cooldowns upon taking damage. See, he's just an absolute tank of a character. Holy shit. So I'll say this. So no charge per gain upon this is a little sad, but like he activates this automatically after normal attacks, which presumably will mean that when you use this, it will also activate. So that's potentially 3 of these in 1 turn, which is 90% bar. And then every time he takes damage, he gets a 1 turn cut. Obviously, I have nowhere to look, but I would assume that I would hope that he has like hostility EMPs as well, so that he'll be taking hits quite often. But I mean, he has a pretty super simple kit, but he seems like he'd be really fucking good for hard fights. I would assume this goes down to 7 turns probably when you level him up, so okay-ish uptime, considering how strong this is. It's a shame this is only 1 turn, which is a shame, but you know, you'll still get 2 attacks out of this. And he nukes after as well. Some HP to keep himself topped off. Again, this is probably not super huge. But Dispel on Ogi, when he does, is nice. Like, honestly, like, not a whole lot to say other than he seems really good as a defensive character. I don't remember. I want to say, like, Fire Vasaraga? I think he was more defense oriented than Fire as well. I don't remember what his kit was. But he... yeah, not much else to say, really. Like, just takes all the hits. He's not going to take that much damage in the long run, really, because of this as well. Like, bearing in mind, stuff like Geisenberger caps at 10,000. This dude's caps at 5. Like, permanently. Like, this is the sort of, like, capping at 5 would be the sort of thing, like I said, Granblue has on her S1. I was trying to think, like, are there many would be not water bosses, wind bosses that have like massive multi-hit attacks? I don't remember. So I was just thinking of stuff like Summer Alex's S1, where it gives her permanent all ally sub and caps damage at like 1.5k. But if you're fighting something like, you know, like the Wamdis fight, where she can end up taking like a bajillion of those 1.5k hits in one turn and still potentially die. I was just thinking, if do wind bosses have much in the way of that? Because if not, then his survivability is going to be really high, honestly. My only real concern is just kind of the uptime of his all ally sub. Like presumably 7 turns by default, and it will go down by 1 turn every time he takes damage, so potentially pretty decent. I'm not going to... It's like 4 AM as I'm recording this. I'm not going to try and do the mental math to figure out what the uptime would be if you used to get hit every turn, but honestly, the uptime might actually be pretty decent, especially for these two now that I think about it, because these are 3 turns. So like by the time those 3 turns are up, and if you got hit every one of those turns, you probably only have like maybe 2 or 3 turns left. Fire's in a bit of a rough spot at the moment, to be fair, so I'm not sure if he will be a welcome character at the moment, but definitely seems he might be useful for harder fights. Maybe he's sort of character that will shine in stuff like Tower of Babel, or you know, like Pride of the Ascendant and stuff like that. Those kind of like difficult, like challenge fights, really. But yeah, kind of impressed, to be honest. Nothing super amazingly strong from either of them, but interesting kits nonetheless. Like, I'm not sure what to make of Erika. I will leave that to the more theory crafty type of people to figure out how she fares. But Anderson is just fucking just take all the hits and take no damage, apparently. He seems like an absolute Giga Chad. Whether Fire actually needs him, whether you actually need him, is the big question, I think. But yeah, thanks for watching. Sorry for no second Spark video in 2 weeks, but yeah, like I said, like this year's summer characters, they were all wants rather than needs, so I've decided just to save my crystals, see what we get at like maybe Halloween or Christmas, because there's usually at least one very good unit. Well, Christmas especially usually has at least one very, very good unit every year. Halloween, not as much, but still pretty decent. But anyway, yeah, that's that. Thanks for watching, and until next time, goodbye.